Can I eat with you? The small voice cut through the buzz of the bustling Manhattan cafe like a whisper in a storm. Ethan Wallace looked up from his half-eaten sandwich, his gaze dropping from the glowing screen of his iPad to the fragile figure standing beside his table. She was maybe 7 or 8 years old, her hair braided unevenly, her oversized coat patched with safety pins, her small hands trembling slightly as they clutched the strap of a worn-out backpack. But it was her eyes, big, brown, and heartbreakingly brave, that froze him in place. Yes. Ethan said, blinking in confusion. I said, can I eat with you? She repeated, quieter this time, as though afraid he might yell or shoo her away. For a moment, all he could do was stare. This wasn't supposed to happen to him. Ethan Wallace was the CEO of Wallace Ventures, a tech conglomerate worth billions. He had made his first $1 million by 27, his first $100 million by 32. The media called him the Silicon Heartthrob, admired for his looks and feared for his ruthless business acumen. But in this quiet corner of the cafe where he had ducked in for some peace, he was no billionaire. Just a man on his lunch break. And now a little girl was asking to eat with him. Of course, he said finally, pushing the second chair out gently with his foot. Have a seat. The girl slid into the chair cautiously, as if it might vanish beneath her. Ethan flagged down a server. Bring her whatever she wants, he said, voice low. And a hot cocoa too. She didn't speak until the food arrived, a grilled cheese sandwich and fries, her small hands trembling as she reached for the cocoa first. She took a sip, then closed her eyes, letting the warmth spread across her face like sunlight. I'm Zoe, she said softly. You don't have to share your table. I just didn't want to eat alone again. Again. That word felt like a stone dropped into Ethan's chest. Do you live nearby? He asked gently. She nodded. Sort of. My mom works at the laundromat down the street. But she doesn't get off until late. I just, wait. Ethan looked at the backpack. School. Zoe paused, her fingers still gripping the mug. I used to go. But we moved a lot. And then. Mom said we'll try again next year. He knew this story, at least, the outline of it. Children falling through cracks. Parents working 3 jobs just to survive. He'd written checks to charities that helped kids like her. He'd read policy memos on education gaps. But nothing prepared him for this moment, sitting face to face with a child who had no idea she was sitting across from a man who could change her life. Do you like grilled cheese? He asked. She smiled, just a little. It's my favorite. I haven't had one in a long time. A life lived in numbers. Later that day, back in his penthouse office overlooking Central Park, Ethan couldn't concentrate. His assistant, Lena, noticed immediately. You've read the same paragraph 6 times, she said with a soft smirk. I met a girl today, he murmured, still staring at his screen. Lena arched an eyebrow. A woman? No, he said. A child. 8 years old. She asked if she could eat with me. Lena's expression shifted. She was homeless. Not exactly. But, yeah, maybe. Her mom works nearby. They move around a lot. And now you're thinking about her. I can't stop. Zoe's world. For Zoe and her mother, the world had been a series of rooms, some shelters, some friends' couches, some nights on subway benches. Her mother, Janice, worked like a mule, laundromats, dishwashing, nighttime janitorial shifts, but nothing was ever enough. They had dreams. Zoe wanted to be a teacher, her mom wanted to own a small home with a red door and a flower box. But dreams cost money. That night, when Janice came to pick her up, Zoe told her about the kind man at the cafe. She didn't know his name. Just that he had kind eyes and bought her grilled cheese and didn't treat her like trash. Janice smiled tiredly. That was nice of him. They didn't expect to see him again. The billionaire returns. But Ethan came back. 2 days later, at the same time, he walked into the cafe again. Zoe was there, alone again, reading a tattered book on the floor beside the window. "Hey, Zoe," he said. She looked up, surprised. "You remembered my name. I never forget important names." She beamed. From then on, Ethan made it a point to return every Tuesday and Thursday. Sometimes they talked about books. Sometimes he helped her with math on napkins. He brought her sketchbooks, crayons, children's novels. He never told her who he really was. The breaking point. One afternoon, Zoe didn't show up. The next day, she still wasn't there. Ethan felt a strange weight in his chest, and something unfamiliar, worry. He asked around. Finally, a barista told him that Zoe and her mom had been evicted from the motel they were staying at. No one had seen them since. That night, Ethan couldn't sleep. He stared out the window of his penthouse, the city lights blinking below. All his wealth, all his power, and he couldn't even find a little girl. He called in favors. Reached out to city agencies, shelter directories, local nonprofits. It took him 48 hours, but he found them, at a church-run shelter across the river. He went there in person. When Zoe saw him walk into the cafeteria, her eyes widened. "You found me." Ethan knelt beside her. "Of course I did." The offer. He met with Janice privately. She was defensive at first, unsure why a billionaire would care about her child. "I'm not here out of pity," Ethan said. "I'm here because your daughter is extraordinary. And because I have the ability to help. Will you let me?" Janice broke down in tears. Ethan arranged a private apartment for them. Paid for Zoe's schooling, new clothes, books, everything. But he didn't stop there. He created a foundation in Zoe's name, the Can I Eat With You project, to support children who slipped through the cracks, just like she almost had. Full circle. 2 years later. The ribbon-cutting ceremony for the foundation's first school was packed with reporters. Ethan stood on stage in a charcoal suit, but the spotlight wasn't on him. It was on Zoe. Now 10, bright-eyed, confident, and holding a speech in her small hands. She stepped up to the microphone. 2 years ago, I asked a man if I could eat with him. I didn't know his name. I didn't know he was rich. I just knew I didn't want to be alone anymore. A pause. That man didn't just give me lunch. He gave me hope. He gave me my life back. There wasn't a dry eye in the crowd. Ethan turned away, pretending to fix his tie. But he was crying too. Epilogue. Years later, Zoe would grow up to become a teacher, just as she always dreamed. But she never forgot that single moment of courage, of asking a stranger to share a meal, and how it had transformed everything. And Ethan? He continued his work, but he never missed a single milestone in Zoe's life. He wasn't her father. But he became something just as powerful. He became her answer. To the question, "Can I eat with you?" Yes. Always yes. Sometimes, the smallest voices ask the biggest questions. And sometimes, all it takes is one yes to change a life forever.